Greetings, fellow bloody walkers. Guy here for These Bloody Streets. Today we're back in London. Rather than touring sites of torture, murder, and execution, we thought we'd do something a bit lighter. Instead, we'll be exploring London's infamous cholera water pump, the root cause of the 1854 epidemic. The neighborhood of Soho in London is home to an unusual memorial, subtly sitting at 54 Broad Street, not to be confused with the hysterically named Old Broad Street in the financial district, is a replica of the water pump which was responsible for the city's deadly 1854 cholera epidemic. The memorial commemorates the tireless efforts of Dr. John Snow. More on this later. The epidemic caused the deaths of over 600 people of various ages. In 1 week alone, 500 victims breathed their last. Cholera is a life-threatening bacterial infection whose symptoms could include anything from muscle cramps to rapid heartbeat to loss of skin and dehydration to vomiting and diarrhea. Unsanitary conditions can lead to the bacterial infection, and Victorian London was quite disgusting. The city had experienced a previous cholera outbreak in 1832. In 1849, a major cholera epidemic caused the deaths of close to 15,000 people. Since Soho was the home to slaughterhouses and bone houses, medical investigators blamed miasma, or bad air, for all three epidemics. The reality was that a myriad of companies supplying water to city neighborhoods employed the unfortunate practice of pumping drinking water in from the polluted River Thames. This practice would ultimately cause the shit to hit the fan. Growing up in York, Dr. John Snow got to see firsthand how unsanitary conditions could lead to illness and potentially death. As the English population exploded over the centuries, so did the volume of human waste. Because germ theory hadn't yet been discovered, people used many of the same unsanitary practices as their forefathers had previously used. In a practice started in medieval Britain, many towns used terms like shitbrook to describe where human waste could be dumped. Oftentimes, these putrid places would be near or even in the town's water supply. The River Thames was no exception to this abhorrible practice. London's burgeoning population of over 2.5 million in the 1850s used the Thames as a toilet. Dr. Snow had treated cholera patients in the mining town of Killingworth during the 1832 outbreak. Being a man of tremendous brilliance, he learned from this experience and started to formulate theories about root causes of the epidemic. Shortly after moving to Soho, Snow set up a private practice, but cholera came back with vengeance in 1849. After the epidemic ended, Snow decided he had to do something. This time, it was personal. Knowing that there was a shitload of research to do, he, along with a handful of other esteemed physicians, founded the Epidemiological Society of London. Like Jor-El in Superman 1, Snow tried to warn society of impending doom. Through papers and advocacy, Snow advanced a central thesis, that unsanitary conditions were the cause of the cholera outbreak. When the 1854 epidemic hit, Snow got off his stool and performed a statistical analysis of deaths from cholera. Taking his number 2, Dr. John Watson, with him, Snow went into the bowels of the epidemic and interviewed Soho residents who informed him that the water from the Broad Street pump tasted odd and smelled funky. Through his analysis and interviews, Snow was able to isolate the outbreak to a single water pump in his hood of Soho. After annoying the crap out of the city council and dumping research on them, they agreed to disable the water pump by removing its handle. It was discovered later that the pump's well had been dug a mere few feet from a cesspool. After digesting all of the facts, it was determined that the root cause of the outbreak was a discarded diaper containing traces of cholera that was likely contracted outside of London. The infected waste seeped into the water supply, which was then consumed by the victims. The reality was that dumping the pump didn't end the epidemic. New cases of cholera were already in decline by the time the city council got off their asses. However, Snow's advocacy may have very well prevented a subsequent outbreak. Shortly after the epidemic receded, the council decided Snow was full of shit. They restored the water pump. In 1858, London was plagued with a new problem, the Great Stink. Hot summer days had caused massive volumes of human waste that Thames to, stink. To end the horrid smell and related ailments, Parliament commissioned civil engineers to install piping to drain the crap out of the River Thames and send it east into the Atlantic. Undoubtedly, the throne was in support of this endeavor. The cheeky city council didn't redisable the Broad Street pump until the connection between feces in the water and cholera was proven. This production of evidence ended their mental constipation, and the pump became non grata. Snow continued to theorize root causes of viruses and bacterial infection. He was also a pioneer in treating rickets and an early proponent of using chloroform for pain, although it's widely rumored that his enthusiasm for this treatment may have led to the deadly stroke he suffered in 1858. The man who spent his life treating others died at age 45. For his efforts, Snow is considered the father of epidemiology and the father of public health. Next to the monument is the John Snow Tavern, which houses a museum commemorating the life and work of the great doctor. A touching, yet strange tribute for a man who did so much to preserve life, all while eschewing alcohol. We'll begin our journey with a tour of the much cleaner, less stinky Thames. Then we'll examine the Broad Street Water Pump Memorial. Let's explore. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope you enjoyed our content. Please hit like and subscribe to see more. Thanks so much.